Hello and welcome to Natna News Stream, where we bring you the news that matters, from breaking stories to in-depth reports, keeping you informed and connected to the truth. These are today's headlines. M23 rebels claim to have seized the key DRC Congo city of Goma. Gasoline tank explosion in southern Nigeria leaves 18 people dead. Alliance of Sahel states presents a unified front in negotiations with ECOWAS. Nearly 40 people injured as a DC-bound Boeing plane plunged mid-air in Nigeria. South Sudan lifts curfew following deadly riots over alleged killings. EU foreign ministers agree on roadmap to ease sanctions on Syria. And Sweden seizes ship after suspected Baltic Sea cable sabotage. News in brief. Gunfire erupted in parts of Goma, largest city in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo (DRC), following the announcement by M23 rebels that they had seized the city. Despite calls from the United Nations Security Council to halt their offensive, the rebels proceeded with their capture. Reports indicated that the DRC and Rwandan troops also exchanged fire along their shared border, escalating the conflict further. DRC government spokesman Patrick Muyaya confirmed the presence of the Rwandan army in Goma and stated that the government was taking measures to avoid widespread casualties and property damage. Muyaya urged residents to remain indoors, refrain from vandalism or looting. M23 declared the capture of Goma as the deadline for Congolese troops to surrender expired. Witnesses reported that rebels had entered Goma city center. Video evidence showed heavily armed men patrolling the streets, raising tensions among the 2 million residents of Goma. The situation continues to unfold, with warnings from officials of possible humanitarian crisis. At least 18 people lost their lives and 10 others sustained injuries when a gasoline tanker exploded in Enugu State, southeastern Nigeria. The tanker, laden with gasoline, lost control on the Enugu-Ostisha expressway, colliding with 17 vehicles before bursting into flames. A spokesperson for Nigeria's Federal Road Safety Corps reported that the victims were burned beyond recognition, while rescue teams managed to extract 3 unharmed individuals. This tragic incident follows a pattern of tanker accidents in Nigeria, a country heavily reliant on road transport due to an inefficient railway system. Authorities launched a campaign against the dangerous practice of scooping gasoline from fallen tankers, which has led to multiple deaths in the past. Rising gasoline prices attributed to the government's subsidy removal policy have exacerbated the issue. Officials emphasize that such accidents and fatalities can be prevented through strict regulations and public awareness campaigns. Foreign ministers from Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali, members of the Alliance of the Sahel States (AES), gathered in Ouagadougou to discuss formalities for their withdrawal from the Economic Community of Western African States, or ECOWAS. The official exit is set for January 28, 2025. The ministers emphasized a unified approach in negotiations, stressing the need for peaceful coexistence between AES and ECOWAS. Relations between the bloc and these nations soured after military coups in all 3 countries, leading to their suspension from ECOWAS and condemnation by the bloc. Military leaders from these nations rejected ECOWAS' demands for the return to civilian rule, expelling French troops and turning to Russia for military assistance. The alliance now seeks to redefine its geopolitical stance in the region. A United Airlines flight from Nigeria to Washington, D.C. was forced to make an emergency landing today after the aircraft suddenly plunged mid-air. Of the 245 passengers on board, 40 were injured, including 6 who required hospitalization. Video footage from the aftermath showed scattered belongings and damaged interiors. Passengers recalled hitting their heads on the ceiling due to the sudden drops, which occurred 3 times during the flight. United Airlines ruled out severe turbulence and is investigating the cause in coordination with aviation authorities in both the U.S. and Nigeria. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria condemned the swift response of rescue teams, who were on standby within minutes of the pilot's distress call. No fatalities were reported and passengers expressed gratitude for their timely intervention. South Sudan has lifted the nationwide curfew imposed after deadly riots broke out in Juba over alleged killings of South Sudanese citizens by Sudan's army and allied groups. The protests, which occurred on January 16 and 17, highlighted tensions over ethnically targeted violence in Sudan's El Jazeera region. Police spokesperson John Kasara Kwang stated that the security situation has improved significantly, allowing life to return to normal. Human rights groups accused Sudan's army of targeting ethnic groups perceived as supporting the rebel Rapid Support Forces, a claim the Sudanese military dismissed as isolated incidents. The curfew's lifting reflects progress towards restoring stability, but tensions between the two nations remain high. European Union foreign ministers have reached a political agreement to lift sanctions imposed on Syria, contingent upon the actions of its new leadership. The sanctions, originally introduced in 2011, targeted 316 individuals and 86 entities associated with Bashar al-Assad's regime in response to its violent crackdown on protests that escalated into civil war. EU officials emphasized that sanctions will only be lifted if the new leadership ensures inclusivity, promoting minority rights, and eliminates the influence of extremism groups and former allies Russia and Iran. Kaja Kallas, the EU foreign policy chief, reported that ministers had developed a roadmap for easing sanctions, aiming to remove those measures most damaging to Syria's early recovery. She explained that while political consensus has been achieved, technical issues must still be resolved before any sanctions are officially lifted. Swedish authorities have detained the Maltese-flagged ship Veshen, suspecting it of its damaging a vital undersea data cable connecting Sweden and Latvia. The ship, now anchored outside the port of the Karlskrona, has drawn international attention following an inquiry involving Swedish police, military, and Coast Guard. Initial investigation suggests sabotage may have caused the cable damage, though images shared in the media indicate the ship's anchor might have been damaged. A Bulgarian shipping company, Navigation Maritime Bulgaria, claimed the anchor fell to the seafloor during strong winds, denying any malicious intent. Latvia's military reported that these ships were seen in the area during the incident. The damaged cable belongs to Latvia's state broadcaster LVRTC, which reported disruptions to data transmission services but assured that end users were mostly unaffected. Well, that's all the news for today. Thank you for watching Natna News Stream. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Goodbye.